What's your top story?
I would say the situation in Myanmar, Burma, and how the foreign aid is trying to get in to help these people. Their government is not really allowing the money and the aid to be distributed the way that it maybe should, so that people get the help that they need.
The top story at the moment has to be based on the crisis in Burma with all the cyclone and the deaths that are going on there. Basically, the country is fairly secretive, very limited news coming out of it, and therefore we're not really 100% sure as to what's actually going on. To get a true insight would be good news.
What's your top story?
I think for me it would have to be energy costs, the price of oil, the super spike. I think that people don't realise that the cost of everything essentially comes down to an energy cost. The cost of manufactured goods, the cost of labour, the cost of materials, all eventually come down to energy. So when you look at massive increases in energy costs, one can't help but avoid the assumption that there's going to be great increases in the cost of almost everything.
What's your top story?
My top story would be the insight on 21st century privatization of fresh water, which is Canada's future main commodity, I guess. I don't know how to say it. They should look further into keeping what is rightfully ours. It's going to be the 21st century oil, and I think they should delve further into that.
What's your top story?
I'm just curious on this ICBC stuff I keep hearing going around the street, just about the president of the company apparently money laundering, writing off cars that aren't supposed to be written off, and just how it's going to affect us in the end of it, and what actions are we taking to make sure we're being protected and we're not overpaying for our insurance, and what are we going to get back from this, because for all we know this could be going on for years. How much of our tax dollars in the past have been going towards fixing other people's cars and stuff when they don't need to be fixed, and yada yada. And I'd just like to see what action is being taken towards this subject.
I'd have a really hard time picking one top story because I'm outraged over so many things at the moment. The cyclone in Myanmar is upsetting. The ICBC scandal where they're taking cars that have essentially run into a shopping cart at 10 miles an hour, fixing them and selling them to their friends. The graffiti guy who does $3 million worth of damage by keying cars, that upsets me. One of the things that's bothering me is the Austrian guy who imprisoned his daughter, and apparently none of his neighbors or his wife or anything noticed anything fishy about the whole matter. Those are some of the things on my mind at the moment. Thanks.
Thank you. What's your top story?
My top story is the story about the guy in Austria who had his daughter in his cellar. She was there for so many years and gave birth to children. The father is also the father of the children, so I think that's creepy, and I think people should know about this.
What's your top story?
I wouldn't really have one because I've only just arrived here from Ireland, so I don't really know what's going on.
What's your top story?
My top story would probably be accumulation of a lot of small stories, so random things that don't make front page news, like a lot of litter and junk blowing up on the West Coast and things like that. I think if people pay more attention to those stories, they'll get a better picture of just environmental change and things that are going on that might not make front page otherwise.
What's your top story?
The biggest thing on my mind that I think would be best top story in the news would be the North American Union. I'm very curious as to, there's been some news about it saying that they're going to break down the borders between Canada and States and Mexico, making one big country, but we don't hear much about it. So is there something going on? Is the government just going to tell us, hey, guess what, we have new friends now, everyone's together? Who's going to run the quote-unquote centralized government? Who's going to be in control of all the resources? Who's going to be in control of the currency, all the money printing, and all that stuff? That's what I'm curious about. That would be my top story.
What's your top story?
I think that what's been bothering me a little bit is the fact that a lot of people have been littering when we should really be taking care of our planet. There's new products out there that can be used, like biodegradable things that can be recyclable that big corporations do know about, like Starbucks, and it's sad seeing Starbucks cups all over the ground, and it's polluting our planet. I think we should change. I think we should start recycling more. That's what I think.
So what's your top story, Cody?
I don't know. What's your top story, Tracy? I can't really reveal the top story because she says that I'm supposed to reveal the other top story, which is that I just came back from Haiti where I went on a union delegation to, anyways, promote social justice. We went into the countryside, the Central Plateau. We saw that basically they live without any social services, any public services, because it's all being basically privatized through neoliberal policies that the Canadian, US, and French governments are pushing through.
What should we be doing about this?
Well, put pressure on the government to reverse its trade policies, so stop pushing through privatization and try and give them real aid that would bring them up to our standards, help them become economically independent.
What's your real top story?
Got married to a man, same-sex, heterosexual marriage. If you're not gay and you get married to another man who's not gay, then it becomes a heterosexual same-sex marriage. And if you're an anarchist, then you wear the wedding ring on your right hand for the right hand of resistance. Because there's no such thing as illegal people, right?
Where's the honeymoon?
Cuba. Where we're gonna meet his aunt, who's like a hardcore Catholic.
Well, that was our show for today. Thanks for tuning in. My name's Jeff Birmingham, and this was mytopstory.com for May 9th, 2008.